Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment, a theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours.
Oh dear, Toby. I wasn't aware that you were Watson's new literary agent. Oh dear.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favour for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house?
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the Colonial Collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. So suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
What should we do next, Holmes?
The plants were here. All of them were stolen.
Do not touch.
Here is a list of the... These trees, with their roots in water, must originate from Louisiana. According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead. These boot marks are fresh. It appears the traces are thinner in some places. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here. The door was smashed at shoulder height. This door handle is new. It was recently changed. Soil. It should have... Soil. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here. This pot was broken. A flower pot recently fell down from these shelves and was misplaced. The esconsson was breached near that. The door was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection.
According to this, this sign. Blood. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash, most likely a head wound. All the clues around here are quite suspicious. I need my imagination to make sense of it all. it wasn't like that. No, it wasn't like that. No, it wasn't like that. This reconstruction reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection Room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked. Was it an accident, or a murder then, I wonder? I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection.
There is a smell of burning. The symbol is not from the remains of a picture, a broom handle, a protective mask. A protective... Someone set it alight. A door handle? Why? The door handle to the Colonial Collection, and that of the... The plants were set alight fairly recently. A water, a ventilation system, locked, seed house, locked, locked, locked,
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Farmhouse. These plants come from all the territories of the British Empire. The smell is strong. It is a detergent. This broken... A fragment of marble, most likely chipped from a statue or sculpture. These windows were perfectly cleaned. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned. Water lily greenhouse. Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only, for I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you. Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
Would you unlock the doors for us?
Do you expect to find the stolen plants there? I am sorry, but those rooms are private.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. This is where I keep my post.
Someone should take Toby for a walk. Have you found something interesting?
Oh dear, Toby. I wasn't aware that you were Watson's new literary agent. That Here it is. That is not the one I need. That is... That. Here it is. The Divine Syndicate is not a supplier to Kew Gardens. Besides, there is no address here. I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
It's ready for autopsy, then.
Mr. Holmes?
A membership card for the London Crest Club. A beautiful feather pen. This watch is of great value. Locked. Locked. First of all, let us carry out an external examination. There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination, so that we can... No redness, stings, or bruises. There is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the water lily greenhouse. The vessels and the pupil of the eye appear quite normal. The air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma. Nothing suspicious here. Now, let us examine the internal organs. The lungs are congested and edematous. The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from an unknown plant. The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs. The heart tissue shows no visible. The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol addiction. The liver tissue is brown. The stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs. There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death. My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning, plant poisoning to be more exact.
You mean...
Yes, it is murder.
We should inform Lestrade.
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No. We also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No. A few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson, it is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building? I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself.
You're enjoying this.
Locked. Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall... Locked. Locked. Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression. Great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say. He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That and...
And?
He had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before. And now, all of a sudden, he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his
He was?
Oh, yes. He forced his son to work here, and he never missed...
Are you able to elaborate?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she would...
Why...
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And he... Why, he couldn't help... How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his...
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation. Who is Miss
She is the young lady who studies with me. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the...
We noticed that a part of...
At the moment
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have...
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens, and I can do it.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hay...
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of... My father would not have...
Indeed? That is most...
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the guard. In fact, if we are to think logically at all...
Do you not have a...
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I can't...
I see. And how would...
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of... He was convinced that my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone.
Tell me, have you...
No.
Do you hold the keys to...
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon. A photograph of Montague Dunn and Reynold Hamish. Newspapers discuss... Champagne. Montague. French wine. A remarkable vintage. There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks. so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose. Locked.
Holmes, Albert Dunn didn't give us the key to this door.
It does not matter. Open. The employee's cloakroom. Albert's locker. Young Albert, standing with a woman in front of London University. Specialist article. Albert Dunn has a great... A rejection letter from the... Martin Hamish's... Father and I, Kew Gardens. A review on rare and exotic plants. Martin Hamish studied chemistry. Interesting. Miss White's locker. A vanity purse. It is a... These jewels must... Apparently, Miss White is a capable student. A draft of the letter that Miss... Chemicals. A botany book. This student's book belongs...
A phonograph used...
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory. Study report.
Martin Hamish's perception.
A study report by Martin Hamish. This is a table for experiments.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Nursery. Locked. We can see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room from this window. This poster, this certificate, a thesis written, a glasses. This area serves as Martin Hamish's office. An award presented to Martin Hamish, a master's degree diploma. It belongs. These young plants must be delicate if they are kept in the nursery. It is a bust. I am curious if the marble... Here it is. The marble fragment that we found in the colonial... The seeds of plant species are stored here. Locked.
Look, Holmes, this charming lady must be Miss White. She's entering the seed house.
Open. From here, we are unable to see the interior. Materials for These leather gloves are new and of this place, sir. A book about ships.
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you, too. But...
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis.
How well?
He was a master.
He had an...
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice.
Why?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely
The Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it...
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens...
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious. Mr. Hamish, was someone from your
Family? No. I'm the only one with a passion for botany.
I do not think so. This photograph of you and your father at Kew Gardens suggests the opposite.
But you have no right to.
Do tell us more about your father.
He was, indeed, the great... He worked together with Montague Dunn until the end of his life. He brought me...
Did he get on?
No, I couldn't say that. And it was all my father's work. For Dunn, always...
So Mr. Dunn was...
Oh, yes, he provided the finance. But the worst of it was, he declared him... Fame meant nothing to my father. So it was easy for Mr. Dunn to take...
There is a bust of Montague Dunn in the...
A bust? Oh, that old thing.
But why in that room?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
There is a
bust?
But why?
Oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
There is
a bust?
But
oh, I don't know. It has always been there.
It is strange.
Really? I have no idea. Surely. Do you have any more?
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.